To move on, Tyrese, to probably one of the weirdest trades that I would say.
Which one was that?
I would say that this is one of the weirdest ones because we talked about
Oh,
it. We talked
yeah.
about it, I believe, a couple nights, and it ruined the video that I had out today. I was gonna put out our Sabonis to the Warriors video, and I did, and ultimately that video basically got canceled or null and void because of the fact that he got traded this morning. But
Yeah.
this to me was the biggest one. And that was, of course, Pacers trade Demonatis Sabonis to the Kings for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. This trade is a trade for Demonatis Sabonis to Sacramento Kings for a package centered around Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers are including Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2027 second round pick in exchange for Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Jeez. The Sacramento backcourt is now less crowded in the De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell. Indiana was poised to split up their big man pairing of Sabonis and Miles Turner this season. Sabonis was widely considered to have a significant more trade value than Turner. The Pacers previously traded away Karis LeVert. We already know about that. And now have a revamped backcourt of Halliburton, Malcolm Brogdon, and Chris Duarte. The league was stunned by this trade, said Adrian Wojnarowski. Wojnarowski added that other teams didn't realize Halliburton was available. I'm told he was stunned today, said Wojnarowski of Halliburton. And I saw that video of Sabonis to the Warriors. Yeah, XCon. I mean, it was supposed to be like, hype, and then it ended up being nothing. But going back to this trade, Tyrese, and I'll let you go first before I go.
Okay.
What did you make of this trade, and are you surprised that it happened? And really, for the obviously Adrian Wojnarowski talked about it. He talked about how Halliburton was stunned by this trade. So, what is your opinion of this?
My opinion of it is, I think the Pacers won this trade. I think Tyrese Halliburton was just kind of let down because I think there was a video that surfaced like a week ago or something like that. He was saying that he wanted to be help help the Kings franchise and
Mm-hmm.
whatever it takes, and then he gets traded the next week. But I think the Pacers clearly won this trade. Tyrese Halliburton is very young still, only 21, 22 years old. And then Buddy Hield's 25, 26. Tristan Thompson, I mean, he's a good hustle player, wild card type of guy. Doesn't really move the needle, but he's a good piece, I guess.
Yeah, I want him off the team. I wouldn't even want him on the team for all this baby
uh,
mama drama, man. You can't have it on the team, man.
yeah, that's true. But sometimes, he could do some good hustle plays.
He's hustling
Um,
in the wrong place, man.
okay, but yeah, as far as the Kings getting Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and Sabonis, I don't like it for the Kings per se. I think the owner made a big mistake. I just don't see why they would do that. I
Mm.
understand, like maybe they just wanted to see a new face and maybe get an all-star, but it's kind of like it doesn't really move the needle for them as much as the Pacers, to be honest, because they got two guys who got more upside to me than Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday, right? Because we already know what Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday are now. Like at least Buddy Hill still kind of has a ceiling to him a little bit, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and Tyrese Halliburton is freaking young, so who knows? He can be a top five guard in the next 3 years for all we know. So I think the Pacers won this trade. Yeah, I don't like I don't like this for the Kings at all. Sabonis is a great center. Don't get me wrong, but Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb are good, but it doesn't move the needle for them. To be honest, they're still going to be the same Kings team, um, and the Pacers got better. To be honest, I think they'll be a playoff team in maybe the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, with Tyrese Halliburton getting more experience, I think he can be a top five point guard. I think in the future.
Yeah, I mean, like if we look at from StatMuse, he talked about this. The last 24 hours. He's averaging 17.3 points per game. That is Tyrese Halliburton. 17.3
Mhm.
points per game, 9.4 assists, a 2.6 turnover a game, and he's 43, and 87%. Like from field goal to 3 point, to uh, 87% from the free throw line. He's a career 41% shooter from the three. To me, I think
And like,
the Kings made probably this to me is just as dumb as them not selecting Luka Doncic when they had the chance to select him. I cannot believe the fact that the Kings basically got rid of a young guard that I
yeah,
believe could really change that franchise around. I was a huge believer in him in the draft. And the fact that, to me, it's like you got rid of a great point guard. I mean, he's one of the best at ISOs. I think he's like in the top five. I'll have to look the stat up for that. And to me, like, I think everyone around the league is just shocked. And I didn't really kind of get a pulse of what the league or what people on Twitter were saying. But I could believe that they're shocked because, again, nobody thought that this kid was on the trade block. You just drafted him
yeah,
maybe 2 years ago, looking to see what you can make of him. And to be honest with you, I thought De'Aaron Fox was the more reasonable guy to let go because it obviously hasn't worked out with him, and you can now have a Tyrese and Davion Mitchell backcourt. It's because think about this as well. Tyrese Halliburton is a tall guard, whereas both Davion Mitchell
6'5".
both Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox are more on the smaller side of guards. And to me, it's one of those things I look at it, and from that perspective, it's frustrating.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, yeah, it really is frustrating because it's like, why the hell would you guys do that? But then again, that's the Kings owner, man. Like this guy, he didn't even get like he wasn't a key guy taking the ball up the court. He had to split with Darian Fox, and Buddy Hill was even bringing up the ball up the court. He was getting 14. Imagine with him on the Pacers, he's going to average 22, 23 points a game.
Exactly.
So I think that was a stupid trade by the Kings owner, man. And the fans with the Kings were just going ballistic on their Reddit board. They're just let down. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense, man. But then again, that's that owner, man. He just doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah. And it's like the Kings are going to stay the Kings. They haven't been great since those 2003, 2002 teams with Chris Webber, Stojakovic, and all those guys. Like, they haven't been good since then. And the fact that they keep making the same mistakes over and over again, it's dumb. And I'm going to get passionate about it because basically, you already have a guy in Marcus and Bagley.
Yeah, Marvin Bagley.
Like, you thought that was going to be your Sabonis, and basically you got your Sabonis now, but you got rid of all the assets that would make Sabonis a much better player for the Sacramento. And I know Sacramento, they're trying to fight for this, playoff position and try to, be in the playing game and all this other stuff. I think right now, as it currently stands, that they are not in there. They're 2 games back. To me, like, I look at it and it makes no sense. And I love Sabonis. I wanted the Celtics to trade for him, but like in terms of like what is going to make the Sacramento Kings better, it definitely wasn't trading away Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and those 2 players specifically, like trading them away. Sabonis is ceiling over Halliburton's. Not on this team, Sean. I don't think so, man. I know you're a Gonzaga fan and you'll always root for him, but not with this team. But to go back to it, the Sacramento Kings, they don't, like, as much as I love Sabonis, they're not surrounding him with great talent in terms of like a whole cohesive team. I still think that they're missing some great pieces out there. And the Sacramento Kings are going to Sacramento Kings. I mean, they keep making the same foolish mistakes over and over again, and it will keep haunting them because they have yet to take a guy. Luka Doncic was supposed to be the guy that they were supposed to take. They didn't take him. They took Bagley. We all know that was probably clearly the wrong move.
Clearly the wrong move.
And now you're kind of just stuck with this team that you don't know, like, as much. And like I said, I love Sabonis. I champion, I stan him. Like I said, I want him to come to the Celtics, but at the same time, I have to be realistic with where the Kings are at. And he's just not a piece that I think they need to add. I think they just need to stay the course with this young team. I don't understand why there need to be a huge shakeup for it. And like I talked about, Sean, he's not overrated. I'm sorry, man. He's a really good point guard, great guard. 6'5",
Yeah,
handles like. Sorry, Sean, he's not
young as
overrated.
hell. Come on, like this. Come on, this. He hasn't even scratched the surface yet of being like surprisingly good yet. Like he's a good. He's gonna be good, man. Like the Pacers are gonna be great for the next 10 years if they hold on to him. I'll say that more than Sabonis. I mean, Sabonis is cool, but I mean, you need a point guard in this league to make get flow of your offense and set it up. I mean, you can't have a center. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to move the needle, and just the culture alone in Sacramento, it's nothing. To where it's going to be
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, we got him. Like let's do great next year. Like the culture's never been there in Sacramento. It's never has since they had Weber in 2003 and '04. So I mean, go figure. But I just think man, they're gonna be back to the same old Kings. Like nothing. The only thing they got was an All Star. If that's what the owner wanted so bad, I mean, what a two-time All Star, but it's not going to result to wins. It's not like you're getting an Anthony Davis type or anything. I mean, he's a solid
Hmm.
center, but he's not like game changing. Let's just be real. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Sabonis is a good center, man, but he's not like an Anthony Davis type to where he can get you 35 and 20 rebounds. Like he can't.
Yeah. And the biggest question mark for me that's going to come from this trade as well is that Miles Turner still wants to trade. He doesn't want to stay with the Indiana Pacers, and so you
And
know
they're still not letting him go. I don't know why they're not letting him go.
so we're gonna see what happens with that one, man. Like I said, I think that the Pacers, they were like, what's weird to me is that or not weird, but it's interesting. They wanted to rebuild. Obviously, they got their young guard now. They basically they got their core right. They got Duarte, they got Brogdon, and really it really makes honestly Brogdon expendable if you want to trade him away and maybe add another piece that you like as like a more of like a forward. Small forward, shooting guard position wise, or I mean maybe more small forward. Um, Kings are going to land Jaden Ivey and be set. Well, it's like you get rid of Halliburton and you bring in Jaden Ivey, and you're in the same position, Sean. Like you're replacing a young guard with another young guard. When really, I think time is what the Kings needed more so than ever. What they really need to do now is draft the right center and draft the right power forward to help them. Like
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley is just not it. And more so he's getting beefs with De'Aaron Fox's dad. Dad battle out there. And again, I think like as much as I think that Sabonis would have. To me, it's like I don't understand why these other teams didn't go for Sabonis, and you know, obviously, I think
It's
that.
because his style of game, I think. I honestly do think it's his style of game. I mean, he can't really hit down shots like an Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns or Joel Embiid. He's kind of a more inside interior guy. He can't really stretch the floor. I think that's one reason why he's kind of like an old school center. And a lot of teams are trying to go towards that stretch, even like a Daniel Tice or, you know, guys who can knock down some shots, man, or Al Horford, undersized, a little bit,
Mhm.
but they're trying to go for centers like that. I think that's why he was untouched. Now, if he had a shot in like a mid jumper or something, I think he would have been. There would have been a lot of teams trying to go after him, but I think that's the reason why he's kind of like an old school center. I mean, he can play okay defense. He's a pretty good rebounder. But I mean, he's not like an Anthony Davis type or Joel Embiid or he can't hit jumpers.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave him open if he has to take a shot. You're gonna leave him open. You don't care about him like shooting shots. And I think a lot of key contending teams they don't want that. They want guys who can stretch.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll
Sean to
see.
go to your point, I do like Rashawn Holmes, but he's more of like a role player, and Marvin Bagley, you were drafting him to like be the guy, right? And so that didn't happen, and that's kind of where the Kings are at. And look, I will disagree with you, Tyrese. I do think that he can shoot. Obviously, he's averaged about his career in 3-point percentage and field goal percentage. And I think what makes him a little bit harder sometimes is that, obviously they need to get him the ball down the post, and he doesn't play within the flow. And really, we'll see what role he'll have in Sacramento, right? Because now you have a point guard that and De'Aaron Fox is more of a speed guy. Maybe get more Sabonis pick and roll action going on, and let him just kind of be a powerhouse down low. Sean, you
I
said
mean,
Jaden.
he's not too off from Marvin Bagley. I mean, he's just a physical guy inside who's a hassle to try to contain when he's getting rebounds, and he's going to get fouled and probably go to the line like 10 times a night, and he's going to get about 7 to 8 points, get about 6 points by himself, or 8 points, get 16, probably 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds. Like he's not really a game changer. I mean, he's a solid center because he's so physical inside. But I mean, he by any means is like a Joel Embiid where he can hit like, 6 jumpers in a row, or Anthony Davis like 6 jumpers in a row. If you had to get 6 jumpers from your center, like he's not that. He's never has been that. I
Yeah.
think that's why and same with like Marvin Bagley. Like he's not they're all three of them are Sean Holmes. They're old school type centers.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Nothing
mean,
wrong with that, but a lot of teams, at least the teams that we have, unless you got three superstars, you need a guy. Look at Giannis; he's even extended his game because he knows he has to shoot. He's
yeah.
shooting better now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I do think that Sabonis is a all star type of player, and at the end of the day, the Kings did get an all star. But I think the problem is that they got rid of a young guy way too soon. They probably could have gotten him for way less, and they overshot their shot basically and paid the bag for Sabonis. When really, I did think you need some of those guys. Like I understand Buddy Hield was not happy there. And maybe they were trying to more so center it on Buddy Hield, but I think maybe the Horton Tucker first round pick and Austin Reeves wasn't going to cut it for the Kings, and that's why they went with the Pacers trade instead. Um, it just seems that way in my opinion, but again, like I really want to root for Sabonis. I really want to make sure that support him because I do think he's a great player. The problem is that I think he's going to get forgotten in Sacramento the way that he was forgotten in Oklahoma City Thunder when he was really improving and getting better as a young center. And I just think that, when you go to Sacramento, it's kind of like, especially the way that the culture is in Sacramento, there's no culture. There's no foundation
No,
there. There's no foundation there for those young guys to be like, look at the past. Like, look at how this team was built. Look at how we were built. We were so different back then. Like, to me, there's just none of that at the current moment. And so, you're hoping that Sabonis can be that game changer, and you're hoping that like he can be like what you wanted Marvin Bagley to be in your offense. And maybe that works for them. But at the end of the day, you still got rid of a young guard, and I think that was the wrong young guard to get rid of. And now we're going to see the repercussions of it. I think at the end of the day, the Pacers made themselves a better team, and made themselves a team for the future that you could see and really be like, okay, this team is really ready to contend in a couple years. Because like I talked about years ago, or like a couple years ago, the owner was wanting to make sure that this team was an NBA Finals team, or they're going to rebuild. And I think that's the biggest thing. Sean, you said the Pacers have too many guards now. Who's going to sit on the bench out of Brogdon, Halliburton, Hield, and Duarte? I mean, the thing is that now you have like so many options, right? You obviously you're going to start Halliburton. I think you're going to start Brogdon. You bring Heel off the bench and Duarte off the bench as well. I think that those are two like solid. Yeah, I think Duarte might play a three. You might have to play three guards in the lineup, and then have Hield come off
that's
the bench.
yeah. That means they're gonna have to keep Miles Turner then, even if he wants to get out of there because they're gonna be super small. I mean, they
Yeah,
have Tristan Thompson, but I mean, he's undersized and he can't really get
he
rebounds.
he's busy with dealing with trying to get another.
Chloe,
Trying to get Chloe back, man. He's trying to find schemas way to get Chloe back. I mean, that's basically what he's been
had a
doing.
kid, man.
I mean, that's basically what I discount Tristan Thompson. I think he's gonna get cut, and I think he's gonna sign with a contending team.
Yeah,
That's
he
good.
might
That's
even go to the Lakers for all we damn know. But LeBron,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if that's the right move for his career, with all his drama that he's dealing with. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
like I said, I think that we're gonna really find out in the next couple months like what the plan is for both these teams. I'm really curious about what the Kings' plan is because again, I love
Honestly, yeah. Go ahead.
No, the only thing is like I love Sabonis. Like I said, I want the Celtics to get him, but at the end of the day, I don't think Sabonis is gonna really move the needle in the way that the
No.
Kings would want, and I think that they're gonna be the same old Kings because I think that when I look at De'Aaron Fox, I don't think he's improved enough to where I'm like, okay, maybe there's an extra level that uh, De'Aaron Fox can go. I think we've kind of seen what De'Aaron Fox is at this point. Not saying that he can't
Mhm.
change his game, but I do think that we've kind of seen where he's at in his career right now, and I think that's where he's going to stay. Um, and
Yeah,
that's
I think the Kings, man, they were better off going all in and trying to get someone like Dame, even though he's 31. Like they would have been able to maybe even get like a mid level type player to go with him in the off season or something.
mm-hmm.
But they should have just went all in for a young guy like a Zion and just unloaded everyone because they're never going to get to the playoffs, man. Let's just be real. Like
Yeah.
unless something crazily happens and they extend it to
Mm-hmm.
12 teams, they're not going to go to the playoffs. They were better off putting their chips all on the table and going after a superstar. Honestly,
Yeah, and we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be an interesting thing to see, like how this team will develop and grow for both these teams. And then XCon, you say Pacers will be a playoff team for sure. Sean, you're talking
yeah.
about the Celtics messed up not getting Sabonis. I mean, we've talked about this before. I wanted him on the team.
Mm,
I think we did,
yeah, but
man.
what would we do with Rob Williams though? Like that would eat into Rob, and he's way more athletic. Sabonis can't block shots like Rob and deflections and
True,
half
but
point
but you've been
blocks.
you've
Like,
been you've been on the show. You talked about how you wanted someone inside to score the rock, and
oh yeah,
Sabonis
for sure. But I'm
and
just
Sabonis is
saying,
that
like
guy.
it. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, he see if we were to get him, it's the chemistry too. Like he's slower than I wouldn't say that I don't know, man. Like I don't know how he would gel with the Jays and Smart and just culturally. I think Rob Williams is a good fit for Tatum and Brown because they've been playing together for some years.
Yeah.
But if they were to get him on something cheap, then yeah. But they were probably asking for too much. They probably wanted like Smart and freaking someone else and probably
Yeah.
a first rounder.
Yeah. And let's kind of end the night, Tyrese, because I do have to go because I got work in the morning. But let's talk about this Bradley Beal thing, and I'm going to include this part in the Sabonis thing, just so it's a longer podcast. So if you guys listen to the separate clips when I separate them, like this is going to be one of the ones that you'll be able to watch. But let's talk about Bradley Beal really quick. Bradley Beal to undergo season-ending surgery on the left wrist. Sean, I know that you're a big Wizards fan, so I have to give you some Wizards news here. Bradley Beal plans to undergo season-ending surgery on his left wrist. He has a torn scaphoidal ligament in the wrist. Beal will enter the offseason as a free agent, has an uncertainty on his future for the Washington Wizards. Beal can sign a 5-year, $240 million with the Wizards or $180 million with a rival team. Despite the last 10 days of getting intensive treatment and rehab on my wrist, it became clear that I could not compete to my standards or the levels that our team and our fans deserve, said Beal. I'm disappointed not having my season end this way, but we all agree that this was the best decision. I look forward to coming back 100%, leading this team and to work and to build towards the future. AKA, he's gone. Sayonara. He's out of there. He's not coming back. Like, I think that without Bradley Beal, I think that this Wizards team is on a different timeline. It always has been on a different timeline. I think, Sean, the biggest takeaway that I could say for you as a Wizards fan now is I think look forward to building in this draft because right now, if we look at the standings, you are, buying in and trying to get into that last playoff game. Um, I think that you needed to make a move for another player, another kind of superstar player. I think you have the assets to do that. The question is, you know, where did the Wizards go from here? Like, do they try to trade the rights to Bradley Beal before this trade deadline, and the team just accepts that he's not going to be able to play the season and just resign there? Um, but I do think that you need to start shipping off some of the guys that are not going to stay with your team for very long. Like I think KCP is one of those players. Honestly, think Montrezl Harrell is one of those players as well. Like you just got to get rid of those guys and try to hopefully get some nice pieces in return. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you have what you got for us, Tyrese.
I was just gonna say, as far as how you said he's out of there and stuff like that, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, like it's the Wizards, man. Like it just, I don't know. Uh, do I expect him to stay? No, I think he's out of there. I th- I don't know. Like maybe they should give him his rights, but then again, I don't know. Like it's the Wizards. Like their organization and their infrastructure is it's not great. So
Yeah,
um,
but I will say that this team does have some exciting pieces. I think that this team could, you know, maybe
yeah, I mean
be one
they
of those
have
those lower teams that could maybe sneak in the playoffs. We didn't expect the Cavs this year, right, to be like that team. I think the Wizards were on their way to being that team, and then once Bradley Beal got hurt, it was over. And to me, when I look at this stuff and when I'm seeing here on the at the standings, I think that they did have a chance, but I think they kind of blew it, and now they're gonna kind of regress. And go back a little bit. They have Rui Hachimura, who is yet to really be featured for this team. They have a bunch of guys. I think that there is some good players. The problem is, of course, you need that superstar. You can have a bunch of nice players on your team, but you need that superstar in the NBA. It's a lot different than any other sport, and you need the superstar, and they just don't have one.
yeah, I mean like again, that's another small cap organization. You know, they're not gonna get I understand they're not gonna get a lot of, superstars or
Mm-hmm.
talented guys. But I mean, they got some good guys. Maybe they can try to trade and maybe they could try to trade Bill and get a superstar or something, but
Exactly.
it's just difficult for a superstar to try to go to DC. I mean, what the hell is in DC besides the White House? So, um,
Exactly.
yeah,
There's like nothing really there. So
there's
again,
nothing there, man.
like this is going to be a little bit small topic. That's why I'm adding it on to this last video. But let us know in the comment section down below, everybody. What do you guys make of Bradley Beal season ending early? Do you guys think that this is gonna be a sure sign for the Wizards being able to sign him back, or do you think that it's over and the Wizards should be looking on to move on and get someone else? Let us know in the comment section down below.